Amen to our spirit of mind. Help us walk the sacred way with all we've got. Can we sing that? the sacred way with all that we've got. Amen Ra, Amen Ra, Spirit within me. Hear my prayer, Lord, I come to thee. Oh my goodness.
Ashe. All right, y'all. It's too early. It's too early. I gotta hold on for a little while. I gotta hold on. Minister Makalisi come up in there with all that. It's like, whoa, hold it, sister. You got a long way to go in this service. You know, that song is so simple in its message and simple in its beauty. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to get to know the people who are singing it personally. So when I hear it, I don't just hear the world view of its message or the African view of its message or the Mott view of its message, but I get to hear it with my relationship with each of those people. I get to hear of it and think of the loving spirit of Mama Connie and Baba Sydney. I get to hear it and think of the spirit of Ingina. I get to hear it and think of that prayer warrior, Mama Akanke. I get to hear it and think of those different people. And in my coming to Wose, how they just welcomed me and showed me what the spirit of Mott is about. All right, got a long way to go, y'all. Okay, so coming up next, or coming up now, I should say, is going to be Libation with Baba Sydney, and then followed by that is going to be the prayer circle with Minister Alicia. So just a heads up. So Baba Sydney, if you would please come forward.
Shay. Good morning, Sister Rhonda. How are you doing? How's my Wose community doing? I hope all is well. I love that song, Amen Ra, the spirit of my art, and it takes me to a passage in the Hosea that says, "Follow in the footsteps of your ancestors, for the mind is trained through knowledge." Ashe.
I thought I had any chance of getting through this without crying. You guys can bet on it's not going to last past this young lady because she is amazing and she just comes filled with so much spirit and so much life and so much of herself she pours into the words that she shares with us. So, Sister Chanita, would you please come forward and bring us a song?
Okay. Oh my goodness, you're about to make me cry. All right. Whew.
I'm good at that.
Why does it seem the ones we love much more smile in your face? Your love they will ignore. Pain that it caused could never be described. It's time to stand tall and move on with your life. Though it seems the shadows will not ever leave. Though the sun is shining bright, it's as though you cannot see. And the pain deep down inside you pray will soon go away. But just when you give in, the sun will shine again. I will, I must, I shall survive. I will Someone told me that I was too involved. The cycle of life won't change, it only revolves. Some have been crossed by friends and family, but only real love will last eternally. But we search so long to find someone to trust. That is why, Most High, I'm glad you're my only true love. I can, I will, I must, I shall survive. I can, uh-huh. I will, I will, I will. I must, I must, I must, I shall survive. I can, uh-huh. I will, I must, I shall survive. I can, I will, I must, I must, I must survive, survive.
God
Yes.
playing.
Well
Woo.
done.
If I was a betting person, I'd bet on me not making it through this. Okay. Thank you so much, sister. That is always appreciated and always like just what you need. You know, just what you need. And I appreciate you so much for not holding back and just letting the spirit flow through you. And we receive it on the other end. I thank you so much, Sister Tamika. Next up is going to be our historical tribute. And our historical tribute is where we take time to recognize, honor, appreciate uh, those from our own people who have made contributions to the world, society at large, to us that you may or may not be aware of. As we know, if we do not take the time to teach ourselves, to teach each other, it is a struggle to have it taught to us otherwise. I believe with the historical tribute, I've learned that there's kind of three ways I go in or come out. One of them is either I learn something that I didn't know, which is always good, right? Sometimes I have to unlearn something, something that was taught to me incorrectly, something that was intentionally shifted or maneuvered a little bit so that it had a different outcome or a different appearance, right? So sometimes you have to unlearn through the course of this. And sometimes you just relearn. It's something you knew, something you heard a while back, something that you read before, but you haven't heard it in quite some time. So you need to relearn it and bring it to the forefront of your mind, right? And kind of find a new place for it to sit in your heart and in your spirit, where maybe it has a little bit higher seat. So we're going to bring forward Minister Malley with our historical tribute. Minister Malley, please come forward.
Well, greetings to all in our Wosei community. I wanted to share today, first a piece from the book of Ani and Hosea, pages 55, section 10. Walk each day in the way of righteousness, and you will reach the place to which you are going. Never speak evil words to any visitors. A word spoken carelessly someday when you are gossiping may overturn your house. If you're found generous in times of prosperity, when adversity comes, you will be able to bear it. If you are righteous, you will be recognized and respected. And whether you are among many or few, you will find your family and friends. And all you wish will be granted. Ashe. Um, the person I want to lift up this morning um, with the community is someone who just recently passed. A coach, basketball coach at Georgetown University, John Thompson. John Thompson passed this August 30th, just a few days before his 79th birthday. One of the reasons why I'm raising John Thompson is that many times during this Black Lives Matter movement, there have been a lot of athletes who have come to the forefront. And the athletes like LeBron and Colin Kaepernick have been acknowledged by the public. Yet most of us understand that the Black Lives movement isn't a new thing, that there have been people invested in Black lives long before the Black Lives Matter movement became popular. And one of the ways that athletes have actually addressed that has not been always popular and has not always been accepted. And John Thompson was one of those people. As a coach at a major university in 1966, before he began coaching, he had played professional basketball, and he was a teammate of Bill Russell. Bill Russell, besides the fact that he set many records, particularly as one of the winningest people in NBA history, he also was one of the people that got together with Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and others to stand up for Black lives before they spoke about Black lives being important. As athletes, many times they have a powerful effect on movements, but they don't always stand up and be heard. Uh, Bill Russell influenced John Thompson in a way so that even as he became a successful coach, he honored that legacy. John Thompson is acknowledged as the first coach of African American heritage to win an NCAA title. One of the things that bothered many of his other fellow members of his coaching brethren was that he had an all-black basketball team. Now, you would think that would be too controversial, and you would think that wouldn't be such an issue. Yet here it is in a sport where there's still today about 80 to 90% black athlete participation. The idea that a black coach could lead a black team to a championship actually sparked some negative reactions within the sporting community. Well, John Thompson was willing to take on that controversy and that reaction. Many people didn't know that behind the scenes, there was a whole lot of complaints about John Thompson. Many of the people um, were complaining and actually accused him of being racist. Now, I know for us that must be amazing, and we would think, wow, how could a black man be racist? Yet he was being attacked like that. In spite of those things, John Thompson remained successful. And one of the proudest accomplishments he had was that he insisted on academic activity by his athletes that he coached. And he had, for all the tenure that he coached at Georgetown University, a 96% graduation rate for those who attended Georgetown and played basketball for 4 years. 96%. John Thompson was also the Olympic head coach, which was a first for an African American coach. John Thompson accomplished a whole lot of things, both on the court, but also behind the scenes. Um, I just wanted to raise him up because a lot of times in our historical tributes, we tend to focus on the public and acknowledged celebrities and famous people. Yet here's an individual brother who, even though he had a position where he could have easily just coached basketball and kept his peace, he decided to step out. It did get him a whole lot of controversial reactions. He was attacked, yet he remained loyal to his position and insisted on adhering to some strong principles about how to coach our folks, but also how to address ourselves as Black people. He insisted that his athletes always dressed well, and he coached Allen Iverson, who was a very unruly type of athlete. But while he was at Georgetown, he wore a suit and tie just like everybody else. So there's a whole lot that goes into the lifestyle of John Thompson. And I just wanted to raise him up this morning because a lot of times we don't know about some of the risks, some of the challenges that face people who are considered successful in the sports arena. Ashe.
Sure.
Hey, Ashe, Minister Malley, Ashe, thank you so much. That's a perfect example of today. It's like I almost said how old I was. Today, at my age, I sat here and learned something that was new and that was interesting, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. So next up, we're going to have another song by Chanita, and she's going to come forward and give us some more energy. And Chanita, if you are ready, please come forward.
Yes. I am ready.
Thank you, Sister Chanita.
Yeah. Long summertime. I've started that one. And the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. And you'll spread your wings and take to the sky. Oh, but until that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you. When daddy and mommy standing by. When daddy and mommy standing by. Don't you cry.
Ah, shit.
All right, well done, Chanita. Well done.
Oh my goodness. I'm holding on. I'm holding on. Oh, who asked me to do this job anyway? Y'all know. My emotions are just right here. Just whatever it is, you just come get it right there. It's just, you can all have some of the energy, the vibe, the love, because I'm going to wear it right here. So, woo! Thank you. Thank you. And my mom, she sits and listens on her computer upstairs to the celebration, and she doesn't have a camera on her computer, but she gets fully dressed in her full garb and her jewelry and pearls and perfume, and the hair's done and the whole 9 yards, to sit in that little office by herself with no camera. And while you were singing, all I could just do is think of my beautiful 89-year-old mom, who I have been so fortunate to have her around and still living for this many years, and I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking of her up in that little room, and I know she's just up there rocking and rolling and singing along and everything. But whew, parents of any type, whether you are, as they say now, bonus parents, step parents, adoptive parents, whatever kind you might be, they are a gift to us. And if you don't have your own, borrow some of your friends. If you don't have your own, adopt an uncle or auntie for the job. If you don't have your own, do what you got to do. Be nice to somebody, and maybe they'll take you in as their son or daughter and give you some wisdom and give you some words. So, it's just appreciated. Thank you again, Sister Chanita. Next up is going to be our litany of sacrifice. At this time, I'm going to ask Mama Ngina and Baba Ustadi to come forward, please. Mama Ngina and Baba Ustadi, please come forward for the litany of sacrifice.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mama Ngina. Good to see everyone this morning. So happy to be a part of this. So many wonderful souls from so many different parts of our system here. This is a time where we give back according to the blessings that have been given to us. This is the time where we remember that while we own our building, there's still PG&E, water, trash, etc. to happen. It is a blessing to be able to give. And for those who are unable at this time, we give not just of money, we give of our time, we give of our talent, we give love, we share love, we send prayers. Those are all litanies of a source, of a certain kind. So right now, as we're, I don't know if if all the information is on the screen. There it is. So I will continue now. And most of us know the litany, so we can say this together. Our litany of sacrifice reads as follows. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might, Almighty Protector. Hear my prayer, Divine Protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How, Most High, can we repay you for the gifts that you have given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call on the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vow to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, Holy One, we bring our sacrifices to you, and we praise your name, O Amun-Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other business and profit from them together.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and development of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, Sister Shanita, creativity. To always do as much as you can in any way you can to make the community more beautiful than when you inherited.
Imani, faith. We shall believe with all our hearts in our Creator,
our people, our leaders, and the righteous victory of our struggle.
And at this time, I will lift up a short prayer. Oh, Amun Ra Most High, we give you thanks, Holy One, for the breath of life. We give you thanks for the automatic heartbeat. We give you thanks, oh Holy One, and praise for our extended families, for those that have been there for us, for the shoulders that we stand on. We thank you, Holy One, for the opportunity to give and to share. We ask that these sacrifices be multiplied, 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 so that we may continue and carry on. We still have much to do. And when this is over, we have so much to do. It's going to be so wonderful to have our beautiful children back in the building, to have us back in the building so that we may lift our voices and fill the room with song and praise. We are just asking, Holy One, blessings and healing for those that are suffering, for Sister Connie's friend. We thank you for Mama Darnisha's son being well. I'm thanking you for prayers for Mama Berry, my matriarch, that she will be coming home on Tuesday. We're thanking you and asking blessings, Holy One, for those that have suffered from natural disasters, the hurricanes and the floods and the fires, and those that have lost everything. But no matter what happens, Holy One, I am in full awareness that you are in control, and that no matter what happens, it's part of the divine plan. I thank you for Minister Makalisi, Minister Imhotep, Sister Doris, for all of the Wosei people, for all of us that are in faraway places that are coming together each Sunday to, again, share and be with each other, to send love and to send prayers. And again, I thank you for my family, for our extended family, asking blessings on all those that are suffering from this pandemic, from mental illnesses, for depression, for the just not understanding what is happening and having difficulties with that. Send blessings. And as I send prayers each and every morning for all of us, these blessings, hopes, wishes, and prayers, I ask in the name of the ancestors. And I say, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe. All right. Thank you so much, Mama Angina. Next, we are going to bring forward someone who some may think of as the griot, some may know as a Jaliva, and some of us know him as our Minister Imhotep, who carries all of those titles with him as he presents and shares with us. And we appreciate them all because, you know, the message comes in all different forms, and our brain has so many different ways that it receives information, and different things fire off different synapses. So we need to be able to receive the information in different ways from different people. And so I appreciate so much the different personalities that we have that bring us our message. So with that said, please come forward, Minister Imhotep, with today's message. Ashe.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama Rana. Thank you for being who you are. I really I really enjoyed the way that you're running the service. Baba Jeff, we worked last night. I want to thank you for all your diligent efforts. Um, Minister Alicia is one of my favorite speakers. Glad to hear her today. And Baba Tai and Nkichi and Fanya and Jalea. Shanita, you know, really, really great music today. And Minister Malley, love that historical tribute. You mentioned somebody from our neck of the woods, Bill Russell. All right, I wanna share my screen now. And so, you know, we're still keeping in prayer Brother Jabari and his wife, Ann. They're in the later stages of their life, and they are still working together. Ann has dementia, maybe the last stages of dementia. Jabari, doctors have told him he needs back surgery. And, but he said, I'm not getting back surgery at this age. And at the same time, he's going through chemotherapy. So want to remember him in our prayers. They asked him to, you know, hey, don't you think you should, you know, have someone else take care of your wife? And his reply was, not on my watch. And that's Jabari there in the center. And so this is a picture of Brother Bill, who's relocated to Jacksonville, Mississippi, Florida, but that man is a wizard. I mean, because if you mention something, a scripture or a URL, he's got it in the chat immediately. And then that's our commissioner of fellowship in the middle, Sister Karen. And I like her name because to me it's a Kemetic name because it's Ka, which is an aspect of the soul, and Ren, which is the name. So when I say her name, I don't say it like, you know, we say a lot of these women that attack black people passively, aggressively, but her name for me means soul name. But Mother Victoria, sometimes she goes by Mother Vicky, is in the hospital. She only has one kidney, and she's having kidney problems. She's been in for a week, but she's going to get out tomorrow. I talked to her yesterday, so remember her in our prayer. We met as a production team yesterday, and Brother Shashim showed us the results of his blood pressure, and his blood pressure was high. And so we're praying for him today. We're praying for him and with him today, and we're also recognizing. So it says that when an elder passes, a library has closed. And so this gentleman on the left, Reverend Ray Robertson, passed away yesterday. He was 102. And he was instrumental in the early days of the formation of Wosei Community, Sacramento. He came over my house and he said, I'm trying to help you to build up your church. So he's joined Brother Bolton You know those chairs in Oakland, Brother Bolton made those, and the podium in Oakland, Sacramento, Brother Bolton made those. And then here is our unforgettable, she would refer to herself as unforgettable, Mother Sprague. So now they're all on the other side. So I want to talk today with you today on a subject, and it is do Black Lives Matter to you? You know, we're hearing about Black Lives Matter. People are demonstrating, I mean, getting out on the freeway, stopping traffic. But do Black Lives Matter to you? You know, do Black Lives Matter to you? So, I'm doing this for Baba Sydney. I used to open up many of my messages with a rap, and they were done by this brother from the UK. He's a Jamaican, grew up in the UK. His name is Maccabee. And his very first song that I heard was called We've Had Enough. It goes like this. We've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. Not taking no more. We've had enough. Lord, we've had enough of it. Hey, hey. We've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. Well, the next could be you, or it could be me. Could be your brother, could be your auntie, could be your friend, could be your pick-a-knee. So what we need now is solidarity. Some black man don't care cause them life cozy, but when police bust them head, who them run to? No, we support one another, give one unity, physically, spiritually, and financially. Unity is strength, organizing is the key. That's why Babylon tried to separate we, but we are African children and we are mighty. We have to control our own destiny. So when it comes to business, all are we. When it comes to support, then all are we. When it comes to war, then all are we. Then they might think twice before they kill. We picnic. They take their chain off with foot, but we still don't free. Now for we under mental slavery. I say you don't know yourself and your identity. You don't know your friend from your enemy. We people die in Africa daily. Babylon not changed, so it's all done to we. Freedom and justice are we priority. Just listen to the words of Messiah Garvey. Point me to a weak nation, and I will show you a people abused and taken advantage of by others. Show me a weak race, and I will show you a people and a nation reduced to peonage, serfdom, and slavery. Show me a well-organized nation, and I will show you a people and a nation respected by the world. Organizing is the key. So I want to get into this thing called police brutality. You know, people are being choked out, shot down, and when some people that are unarmed come before the system, the system responds with more brutality. So here we see this sister, she just got on a t-shirt and she's saying black, and here they got automatic weapons, they got shields, they got, it's like they're fighting in Afghanistan or Iraq. This is what we're coming up against. And then they don't even want you to mention what happened to us. And so we're murdered by the police, and then here we feebly put the pictures up on a cloth of the murdered people. We live in a world that kills a 12-year-old for playing with a fake gun, but celebrates a 17-year-old for killing people with a real one. And so we have Black Lives Matter. And if you go to their website, you find this part of their statement of belief. Black Lives Matter began as a call to action in response to state-sanctioned violence and anti-Black racism. Our intention from the very beginning was to connect Black people from all over the world who have a shared desire for justice to act together in their communities. The impetus for that commitment was and still is the rampant, deliberate violence inflicted on us by the state. Now, I was in Detroit about 4 years ago, and I read this article that came out by John Halstead, and he's an activist and he's a blogger, Earthseed Shaper. And it was written in July of 2016, and then it was updated in 2017. And so this is a white man writing this article, and he's saying, why black makes us uncomfortable. Dear white people, let's have an honest talk about why we say all lives matter. First of all, notice that no one was saying all lives matter before black people started saying Black Lives Matter. So all lives matter is a response to Black lives. Apparently, something about the statement Black Lives Matter makes us uncomfortable. Why is that? Now, some white people might say that singling out black lives as mattering somehow means that white lives don't matter. Of course, that's silly. If you went to a breast cancer awareness event, you wouldn't think that they were saying that the other types of cancer don't matter. You'd be shocked if someone showed up with a sign saying, colon cancer matters, or chanting, all cancer patients matter. So clearly, something else is prompting people to say all lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter. Many of the people saying all lives matter are also fond of saying blue lives matter. If you find the statement Black Lives Matter bothers you, but not blue lives matter, then the operative word is black. That should tell us something. There's something deeply discomforting about black. I think it's because it reminds us of our whiteness and challenges our notion that race doesn't matter. All lives matter is a problem because it refocuses the issue away from the systematic racism and Black lives. It distracts and diminishes the message that Black lives matter, or that they should matter more than they do. All lives matter is a really code for white lives matter. Because when white people think all lives matter, we automatically think all white lives matter. We need to say Black lives matter because we're not living it. No one is questioning whether white lives matter or police lives matter. The question of whether Black lives really matter is an open question in this country. Our institutions act like Black lives do not matter. The police act like Black lives do not matter when they shoot unarmed Black people with their arms in the air, and when Blacks are shot at 2.5 times the rate of whites, even when whites are armed. The judicial system acts like Black lives don't matter when Blacks are given more severe sentences than whites who commit the same crimes and are turned into chattel for a for-profit prison industrial complex. Now, if you would like to, that is not the whole article. If you would like to read this article in its entirety, you may search on The Real Reason White People Say All Lives Matter, or you can go to this URL, and it's in the Huffington Post. So that's, you know, a white person writing about, you know, why they feel uncomfortable, or why white people feel uncomfortable with the phrase Black Lives Matter. But I want to ask today, do we as a people care about Black lives? We'll say community is a spiritual, religious movement. Dr. Ben told us, came to Wosay in Oakland on Galindo Street in 1982. He told us that religion is how I take care of my family. It's how we love each other. Julian Richardson of Marcus Bookstore, when you would go to Marcus Bookstore and you would see Rich there with his wild, you know, Frederick Douglass hair, eyes focused just beyond the asteroid belt, he would ask you, look you straight in the eye and say, "What have you done for Black people today?" And you might ask yourself that. What have you done for Black people today? Do we as a people care about Black lives? Do we as a people care about Black lives? How do we love ourselves and each other? Do we really love ourselves? Do we really love ourselves? Do we take care of ourselves? How do we eat? Do we eat more like on the left of this picture or on the right? African Americans for Balanced Health here in Sacramento, one of the founders of that movement, Sabrina Hawker would say, if you're green on the inside, you're clean on the inside. Do we pollute our temples? Yes, they call it a temple on either side of your head for a reason, because they house the God within. Do we pollute our temples? Do we even look at it as a temple? What are we putting in our bodies? Do we look like the picture on the left with like burgers and pizza and just all kind of Babylon? Or do we put the healthy green stuff in our bodies? How do we love ourselves and each other? Are we exercising? Yes, are we exercising? Many of us have a lot more time now, but do we exercise? Are we stressing ourselves out? Do you cultivate your mind? Do we cultivate our souls? How do we love ourselves and each other? What about the golden rule for Black people? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do we respect our Black people? Do we respect and love our women? Do we respect and love our men? Do we put care in loving and raising our children? Our affirmation, we say it every week. We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. Don't just have them. Maccabee has another song. It's called, If You Don't Want to Feed Them, Then Don't Bother Breed Them. When dealing with Black people, do we have a that'll do attitude? When dealing with Black people, do we have a that'll do attitude? I can do the least and the lowest because it's just another Black person? Are we really that forgiving? Now, I watched the phenomenon, and I would like to say that something else happened, but it didn't. A man came in to a historically Black church. He didn't just pick any church. He picked a historically Black church because he wanted to make a statement. And he came in and he prayed with those Black people. He went to their prayer meeting. And then he shot all of them in the prayer meeting but one, because he wanted one to be a witness. And then that church forgave him. They forgave him. I mean, as soon as they heard it. Now, some people would say, well, that's really a beautiful spiritual thing to do. But are we really that forgiving? I saw this meme, Sister Temperance posted it the other day, and it says, Black people aren't really that forgiving. We're just forgiving to white people. If we were that forgiving, we would have long-lasting marriages, which we do. We would have long-lasting families, peaceful communities. We love and forgive our enemies, yet despise our brothers and sisters. In Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, this is a founding book of Wose community. This is where the word Wose comes from. Dr. Chancellor Williams, in his Destruction of Black Civilization, Great Issues of Race, from 4,500 BC to 2000 AD, writes, there's a problem. This one concerns an inheritance from slavery. It is an attitude of indifference and disrespect of blacks towards blacks. To the average black, another black is not as important as anyone of another race. Therefore, black clerks or salespersons will serve whites more quickly and politely than they will serve members of their own race. This evil spirit from slavery pervades all classes, whether lawyers, carpenters, doctors, painters, nurses, shop owners, school heads, teachers, repairmen, garbage and trash men, paper hangers, taxi drivers, Uber drivers probably now, movers and haulers, employees in the home et al. The only thing you can count on being first class in are the charges, which are often higher than what the whites pay for the services these same blacks give at the highest level of their competence. The exceptions to this general rule aren't enough. And then he goes on to say, out of this general attitude which serves white supremacy position so well, develops an indifference to high standards of excellence in all black situations. Professor Manu was talking about this a couple of months ago. The idea of efficiency and expertise are unnecessary in all black situations, and that strict business methods in the areas of auditing, accounting, or strict financial procedures in the collection, deposit, and management of other people's money, these safeguards are thought by many not to have place in the black community. He goes on, but you get the point. I've given you the pages here. You can go to Destruction of Black Civilization, page 359 and page 360. Well, what we need is love. And when our ancestors along the Nile wrote love, they used this glyph, and it's myrrh. Myrrh means love. And this is how you would say to love. Marry. To love. It's a hoe, but not to be confused with a sex worker. It's a farming tool. It's a farming tool, which means myrrh equals love. Which says to us that love is something you have to work at. You have to work for. You have to cultivate it. It's not just a host of platitudes and pleasantries. You know, that's not real love. I mean, yeah, there's people that you might like, love at first sight. You like the way, something about them that attracts you. But over the years, things change. And love is something that you have to work for, cultivate, work at it. It's love, it's work, it's cultivation, makes things grow. And here they are out there loving the land and cultivating the land and making things grow. Now, our freedom writings come from the Hosea, the book of Imhotep, number 16, Roman numeral 16, page 46. And this is something we need to practice now. I'm talking to you. You that don't give any quarter to other black people. You that want to make a point or embarrass your sisters and brothers. That's who I'm talking to today. I'm talking to you now. If you are angered by a wrong done you by another, lean not toward remembering it, but towards righteousness. Pass over it quickly and do not hold it in your heart after the first day it happens. Shall I repeat that? If you are angered by a wrong done you by another, lean not toward remembering it, but toward righteousness. Pass over it quickly and do not hold it in your heart after the first day it happens. And then, continuing on in the book of Imhotep, if we start here in the middle, number 3, it says, don't argue with the contentious, nor provoke them with words. Pause before those who interrupt and give way to those who verbally attack you. Sleep a night before speaking, for the unrestrained person is like a storm which bursts forth like a flame in a pile of straw. And then number 2 tells us, let us steer a righteous course so that we may carry the wicked across without becoming like them. Raise them up, give them your hand, and then leave them in the hands of God. Fill them with the food of your kindness that they may be satisfied and repent. Another good thing in the heart of God is that you pause and think before speaking. In Destruction of Black Civilization again. Now in chapter 6, Dr. Williams talks about the African Constitution. And there's a couple of passages in there, and this particular one in chapter 6, page 174, talks about Africans and warfare. This is the way we traditionally waged war before we had invasions, before we had predators and destroyers. Those of you that read 2000 Seasons, you know who those are, predators and destroyers. One comes from the desert, one comes from the ocean. There were quarrels and warfare between these member states of common lineage. The highly humane aspect of African warfare that puzzled many Western visitors doubtlessly developed from the widespread recognition of lineage and kinship ties. For in the much heralded tribal wars, the main objective was to overcome or frighten away the adversary, not to kill at all if it could be avoided. Hence, the hideous masks and blood-curdling screams as they charged. Even when the enemy was defeated or completely surrounded, escape routes were provided, the victors pretending not to be aware of them. Indeed, there are reports of rest periods. And it goes on and talks about how, war was waged. And I asked you if you are interested to go to Destruction of Black Civilization, page 175. I'm going to say around 175 because depending on which version that you've bought, the numbering of the pages is off. So if you're like me, you bought the $4.95 version, it's different than the $8.95 version, than the $16.95 version, than the $24.95 version. You don't pick that up until you lead a class in Destruction of Black Civilization, and there are all these different versions. But go to the African Constitution, sisters and brothers, and review how we used to address each other in warfare. He goes on. He says they would call time out when neither side seemed to be winning. At such times, the warriors on both sides would meet at the nearest stream to refresh themselves, kid each other, laugh at each other's jokes until the drums, gongs, or trumpets sounded for the resumption of battle. This was traditional Africa. How did we change to warfare to kill each other, lineage or no lineage? How did it happen that even now in our modern advanced civilization, some of the most murderous and inhumane wars are fought by black against blacks? And this in the face of their increasing awareness that we are one people. It is quite clear that in early Africa, war was not much more than a frightful game when among themselves. Was the radical change brought about by the death-dealing incursions from Asia and Europe? This raises the question of great urgency. Are we really civilized? Have we not substituted the trappings of civilization, our triumphs in science, technology, and computer revolution for civilization itself? Suffice it to say here that the steady weakening of lineage ties and its spirit of unity was the weakening of the sense of brotherhood and unity among blacks. Today, it rarely finds little expression in various languages or tribal groups, and these maintain it more and more as cohesive forces to be used against each other. Don't have time to dwell on it, but Dr. John Heinrich Clarke was once quoted as saying, "You can't have civilization without being civil." Here again, Dr. Williams, in warfare, the object was not to kill the enemy, but to overcome him with fear if possible, such as screaming war cries, loud noises, hideous war masks. Where killing is unavoidable, it must be kept to a minimum. In the case of defeat, there must be some kind of ruse to enable the enemy to retire in honor. They would provide escape routes and pretend not to see them. But do we do that now? No. We want to crush a person in an argument. We want to crush a person in a relationship. We want to crush a person in an organization just to make ourselves better than that person, instead of providing the escape route for our people. So now I want to talk about Dr. Amos Wilson. I want to thank Brother Jeff, because we worked on this last night. And there's a YouTube video, and this is cartoon, and it has Dr. Amos Wilson's picture in this cartoon, and a lot of images look like they're from Boondocks. But they had a couple of expletives that I could not allow to be shown in this service. Yes, you might see us on the street and we might use some colorful metaphors, but we should not use those ever in our sacred space. So I'm going to capsulize what Amos Wilson says. Thank you, Brother Jeff, for all the things that you worked on it. I'm glad that you pointed out the issues with it, and I meditated on it last night, and I decided to do it this way. We are killing each other in order to maintain this system. We have let ourselves become possessed by a spirit such that when we become aggressive, we aggress against the self instead of those who are the source of our aggressive orientation. We talk a lot as a people about self-hatred. Self-hatred is a personality configuration. It is a form of personality organization. It is an orientation towards the world and towards oneself. Self-hatred, then, is the white man's greatest protection against being destroyed by the black man. To a good extent, self-hatred is the white man's defense mechanism, the white man's form of self-defense. How can we say that? To a great extent, one function of the personality is to direct energy, to direct aggression, to channel aggression and energy and wishes and impulses in particular directions, to organize feelings, to organize energies to achieve certain ends. Those things that we hate, often then, when we are angry or hostile, we aggress against them, don't we? We attack them often. We destroy them. Then we have a problem, don't we? If we attack the things we hate, if we attack the things we hold, if we attack the things which we hold hostility, when we are overly frustrated, when we are angry, then what happens if that thing we hate is ourselves? It means then, ladies and gentlemen, that when we become frustrated and angered as a people, when we are overwrought by feelings of hostility, and our self-hating personality seeks to channel that hostility and channel that aggression, it's going to channel that aggression back on the self, because that's the thing we hate the most. So consequently, black anger becomes a conduit for black self-destruction, black self-defeat. The object of our hostility, our hostile, aggressive feelings become ourselves. And you can see then how the white man is protected by that personality structure, right? While he stokes our anger, while he stokes our hostility, while he stokes our frustration, and while we get mad and want to strike out, when we decide to strike out and aggress, we strike out and aggress against the self. And by doing so, he is left untouched and unscathed. And therefore, our self-hatred becomes his principal means of defending himself and maintaining his self. Neely Fuller Jr., who is Dr. Welsing will always admit, when you listen to her talk, that Neely Fuller Jr. was her mentor. And he is quoted as saying this, and this is something, Malik, if you're out there today, I know you quote it. This is something we need to remember. When we watch the news, when we just observe different phenomena, he says this: if you do not understand white supremacy, racism, what it is and how it works. Everything else that you understand will only confuse you. And then he gives us this, and we're almost to close now. He gives us this. He gives us this thing called the 10 stops. The 10 stops that victims of racism should practice in speech and or action. Now, you don't have to join an organization to practice these, sisters and brothers. You don't have to proselytize anybody for this. You don't have to. All you need to do is practice these with your own black self. And this is how we develop collective group self-respect, according to Dr. Francis Welsing. And Neely Fuller Jr. wrote this book called The United Compensatory Code System, a textbook, workbook for thought, speech, and action for victims of racism, white supremacy. So he has a book, a handbook that you could use to address these problems. Number one, stop snitching. That's right, stop snitching. Do you have to tell, or is it you want to tell? Some things should be told, but you need to balance that. Do I have to tell, or do I just want to tell? Stop name calling. You know, some of us, we change our names. I know some people in the African community I've been around, they've changed their name 3 or 4 times. So sometimes I have to ask them, excuse me, I don't know what your name is today. Could you please tell me? Stop name calling. Stop calling people out of their name. Stop cursing. This is what Baba Jeff reminded us, or reminded me for this talk today. Stop cursing. You know, we need to stop doing it. Sometimes I use the MF word, and I'm trying to get better at that. And what I've done is I use the word ma'afa. That's my MF word. I don't use the N word. I use netter. What's up, my netters? What's up, my netteroos? So stop cursing. Stop gossiping. You know, in the Hussein it says, one day while you're gossiping, it may overturn your house someday. Stop gossiping. You don't need to do it. Stop being discourteous. Just be courteous to one another. Open the door. You don't need a thank you. Just open the door for it. You know, if you step on somebody's shoes, say, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, please forgive me, and move on. You know, some people get shot because somebody has stepped on their white Air Jordans. So stop being discourteous. Stop stealing. Okay, enough said. Stop robbing, which is stealing with violence. He goes over all of these in great detail. Stop fighting. Let me say it again. Stop fighting. Did I say stop fighting? Stop fighting! Stop killing. Stop killing. Yes, you tend to strike out at the people that's closest to you, but stop killing. We need to make songs. We need to have The Weeknd or Snoop or whoever's the latest person out there. What's the guy? Danny Grover. You know, and include all of these in their songs. Stop killing. And then the last one, this is kind of a short version, says, stop squabbling among yourselves and having white supremacists settle it. You know, you know, you can turn on the TV and it's usually some black people up before Judge Judy trying to get their situation straight. Stop squabbling among yourselves and asking white supremacists to settle it. So now, if you want to go and find out more, you know, before you purchase Brother Neely Fuller Jr.'s book, you can go to this URL, and it has the 10 stops listed, and then it has a full explanation of each one of the stops. So just to review, sisters and brothers, love. Myrrh means love, to love. It's a hoe, but not confused with a sex worker. It's a farming tool, which means myrrh equals love. Got this nice Sankofa symbol there. That's actually the Sankofa, like, you know, they use this sometimes in place of the Sankofa bird, but this looks like a heart, so I put it on there. Which says to us that love is something you have to work at. You have to work for. You have to cultivate it. See, here these brothers. Here, right here, he got his myrrh, and he's cultivating. And this brother has the axe, which is the symbol for nectar. Nectar splits things in two. All right, that's the symbol. You got to cultivate it. It's not just, oh baby, I love you. It's actually more to it than that. Myrrh, love, work, cultivation makes things grow. Right, and then our freedom writings. What did I do with our freedom writings? Here they are, sisters and brothers. If you are angered by a wrong done you by another, lean not towards remembering it, but towards righteousness. Pass over it quickly and do not hold it in your heart after the day it happens. That's probably why some of us are sick. You know, we hold that anger in, and that stuff just gets in your DNA. That stuff constricts your organs. You need to let it go. Do not argue with the contentious, nor provoke them with words. Pause before those who interrupt you, and give way to those who verbally attack you. Sleep a night before speaking, for the unrestrained person is like a storm which bursts forth like a flame in a pile of straw. And then this last verse says here on number 2, another good thing in the heart of God is that you pause and think before speaking. Now I'm going to ask Baba Jeff to come in and give us Maccabee's song. This is actually Maccabee singing it, so you can see how it really sounds, not just me. All right, I love you. One love, one heart, one redemption, one God, one aim, one destiny. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
We've had enough of it. No, we've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. Not thinking no more. We've had enough, lad. We've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. We've had enough of it. Well, the next could be you, or it could be me. Could be your brother, could be your auntie, could be your friend, could be your pickaninny. So what we need now is solidarity. Some black man no care, cause them life cozy, but when police bust them head, who them run to? No, we support one another. Give one unity, physically, spiritually, and financially. Unity is strength, organizing is the key. That's why Babylon try to separate we, but we are African children and we are mighty. We have to control our own destiny. So when it comes to business, all away. When it comes to support, then all away. If it comes to war, then all away. Then they might think twice before they kill we picnic. Then take the chain off our foot, but we still don't free. Not away under mental slavery. That's why you don't know yourself and your identity. You don't know your friend from your enemy. With people them are dying in Africa daily. Babylon not change, so it's all down to we. Freedom and justice are we priority. Just listen to the words of Messiah Gavi. Fight me to a weak nation, and I will show you a people abused, taken advantage of by others. Show me a weak race, and I will show you a people and a nation reduced to peonage, serfdom, and slavery. Show me a well-organized nation, and I will show you a people and a nation respected by the world.
Ashe, Ashe. Thank you so much, Minister. That was really good, really good. And I stick to exactly what I said. You know, we have to receive information in different ways. And we have to strike different parts of our mind, different parts of our senses, different parts of our spirit. And I really do appreciate that all of our ministers on board, you know, between all of them, we're going to get it. If you can't get it between one of the ways that they're giving it to us between all of our different ministers, then we need to take it to another level. The next thing that we're going to do is have our invitation by Minister Makalisi, but I wanted to just take one moment to do something, because I kind of feel like it would be, for me personally, it would be kind of remiss to do one without the other. And that is, I want to just welcome anyone that is with us today that maybe has not been with us before, or anyone who's with us today that maybe they've only been here a few times, or they're a friend of or a family member of one of our members. I wanted to take the time to say, we appreciate you being here. You had options as far as what you could be doing with your Sunday morning. And for whatever reason, whether it be because you're curious and you wanted to just peek in and see what we're doing at Wose while we're on Zoom, you know, maybe that was a little more comfortable for you, or because you really, you know, you're down with us, and maybe you just, because of location or time or whatever, haven't had an opportunity to be with us before. So I just wanted to take a moment and say, welcome to you. We are glad that you are here. We are glad that you are a part of our celebration, and we hope you come back again. So with that now, I'm going to go to Minister Makalisi for the invitation.
Ashe, we just give thanks and praises this day for the message brought to us by our minister Imhotep Al-Kabalan. Do Black Lives Matter to you? And we want to invite you, if you've been moved today, if you're new to Wose, if maybe you've been here a few times, but if you've been moved today to feel like you want to express and have the level, the way, the manner in which Black lives matter to you, to join our effort, because Wose is a community where Black lives matter, going all the way back to our ancestors, the most creative, the most divine people that humanity has ever known. Black lives matter to the Wose community. And we're doing all we can in every way we can diligently to overcome, to overthrow, to dismiss the diligence of those other folks who do all they can to undermine our respect and love for one another, educationally, economically, technologically. I mean, in every way you can think of, spiritually, to overthrow and undermine our respect and our love for one another. And too many of us for too long have fallen for it, been culturally, spiritually incarcerated, indoctrinated. And so we'll say, as a community that's about the business, is being successful for nearly 40 years. Of overthrowing that insanity, overthrowing that self-destructive, genocidal indoctrination that this society in the U.S. of A. and all over the world, the Eurocentric world, is trying to take everything that they could. They stole it from us as the people. Virtually everything that's of value in modern so-called civilization is rooted in the genius and the beauty of our ancestors. And so we're endeavoring to bring that consciousness to ourselves and to all of our people. And we're endeavoring to bring that genius and beauty out of ourselves so that which is of value and worthwhile in the future to come will be, again, rooted in what we do and who we know ourselves to be. So that's what about loving Black lives is all about. So if you're inspired and feel moved today, you want to be a part of this community, it's time right now to let it be known, to get yourself off of mute and say, here I am over here. What do I need to do to become part of the Wose community, the Wose community of the sacred African way, the Wose community of sacred Africans, respecting the sacredness and the divine essence within one another. How do I become part of that community and become to contribute and add what I know and what I feel and what I envision to the work that's being done. So if there's one here, more here, 2, 3, however many more, unmute yourself and say, over here, let me know what to do, what the process is. I'm ready. I'm ready because Black lives matter to me.
Brother Minister, this is Baba Tai.
Yeah, Brother Tai.
We did have 2 people join this week, Sister Tarima Whitfield and Brother John Jackson. And I was going to introduce them to you and to the community this morning, but neither one could make it this morning. So hopefully they'll both be here next week.
Ashe. Ooh. Any others? Any others? But again, we give thanks and praises for Minister Imhotep Cable Line for his dedication and diligence in our community, and all of those here who we continually diligently endeavor to do all we can in every way we can to be a community known for mattering for Black lives. Ashe.
Minister Makalisi?
Yes.
Oh, wow, Glow.
This is Gloria Perder Mantooth. I miss my community so much.
All right.
You guys don't know how much I miss you, and I'm so happy to see you.
All right. Happy to
Gloria,
see you.
Tell us where you are. Tell us where you are.
I'm in Lompoc, California. Back from Kauai. I've been here for about 6 years now. I got married here in Lompoc to a gentleman who was also born and raised here, and we both came back to look after our aging parents. And I helped him as his mother and father in their 90s, both educators, both strong African-American teachers and educators, really live out the glory days of their last part of their life with their son. And I'm so honored and blessed and happy to be here, but I so miss my Sacramento Wose family. I love you guys so much. You have informed every step I've taken since being there in the community, and I'm so happy to be back.
You know what, Gloria, I want everybody to know that Gloria is a wonderful singer, and Baba Tai, I think we need to reach out to Gloria to bring some music one Sunday, but she's also an excellent bookkeeper, and she took really good records. I think the last report she gave us was in 2007, but she, what was it called, Gloria? Gap?
Gap bookkeeping, yes,
yeah.
I'm still in business.
Yes. So, you know, we might want to reach out to her for those 2 things. You know, I'm like Shaquille O'Neal. I want to get all my teammates involved, and I see Minister Lizelle there. Minister Lizelle and Brother Cat. I wish I could grow a beard like you guys. It's magnificent. It's a magnificent beard. It shows wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Good things.
Well,
I received this call this morning from a brother from Cares Unity, Brother Sektet Mott of Karesh Unity. I don't know if he's here now, but I gave him the information and he was joining us today. So, and then I saw Sister Foxy Brown from Karesh Unity and all of them. So I'm really glad when LA, you know, we're just all sister churches. We're just all sister religious, spiritual movements. And so I'm glad when we can join together. I'm glad that when we can communicate with each other. So,
Brother Minister, can I interrupt you for a quick second?
Absolutely not. I'm talking now. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This is Ty again. I wanted to get Sister Gloria's email address. I sent her a private chat, but I noticed she's in the car, so I don't know if she'd be able to respond to me.
You see that glow? She might. Okay, I'll try to reach out.
Yes, I will respond.
Okay, cool.
I am driving.
You better be careful.
But I will respond.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Minister who? I'm sorry.
My name is Baba Ty. I sent you a private chat. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I will respond. Thank you.
But you have to do it before, once service ends, the chat goes away.
Okay, I'm going to do it now.
You can always go to the website. I also sent you a note asking for your contact information. So you can always go to our website and just send an email, info@wosecommunity.org.
I will do that. That's what I will do, okay? Yeah. That way you'll have it outside of the chat.
Yes, and the website's back up, everybody.
All right.
Sister Gloria, we're so glad that you were able to join us, and thank you for sharing with us. Baba Ty is sending you the information on the chat. Pull over and respond to that so we can connect with you. And then I'm going to route back to Minister Makalisi, who was actually still in the middle of the invitation, or not necessarily the middle, but I want to allow him to finish and close on the invitation before we get too far off track. Ashe?
Well, you better get back on track, because you fool around here, I'll be starting up another message, and so
I don't have any problem with that. I just need you to close this first before you start.
I'm finished with the invitation. If there's no others that are unmuting themselves and saying, "Let me in," well, we need to move on. So just giving thanks and praises to the Most High, to the ancestors, to the Minister Imhotep, and good to hear from Sister Gloria, and that indeed from Brother Tyler letting us know that there were two other members who stepped forward this week, although they're not here with us right now, but we'll be getting ready to get the next new members orientation on the road. So move on. Ashe.
Ashe, thank you so much. All right, next up is going to be Sister Chanija coming to us again with another song. And if you are ready, come on and step forward, sister. Thank you.
Lift every voice and sing till heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
And now unto them who is able to lift us up faultlessly before the throne on high, may they empower us to be a people with one aim.
One aim.
One vision.
One vision.
One faith.
One faith.
One destiny.
One
destiny.
one love,
one love,
one heart,
one heart,
one God.
One God.
Let us call upon the name of that one God for that our ancestors and elders have done for countless generations, for time immemorial. Let us all say together.
Amen. Ra.
You are the
most beautiful people
Ashe.
on the face of this earth. Ashe.
Ashe.